Res me veseli, da ste se na ta dogodek odzvali v tako velikem številu, sploh ker to kaže na to, da smo v Sloveniji res pripravljeni že na to, da presežemo tradicionalne okvirje, sploh na področju izobraževanj in pa na področju razvoja kadrov, tako da je to en zelo dober pokazatelj. Danes sva z vami torej dve gostiteljici, poleg mene je tukaj še Milica Marjanović, sem zelo vesela, da je danes lahko z nami. Namreč Milica prihaja iz podjetja Assert, ki je magistra psihologije in ima večletne izkušnje na področju upravljanja s človeškimi viri. Njen poklicni fokus je pa v bistvu na razvoju kadrov in pa je specialistka za game-based learning, kar je pa za današnje srečanje v bistvu najpomembneje. Tako da, Milica, dobrodošla. Moje ime je Mirjam Kmetič, pri Manpowerju sem 5. leto, moj fokus je pa nekako na iskanju in selekciji kadra in pa zadnje leto tudi na razvoju kadrov. Zdaj, kaj bomo danes slišali, kaj bomo zvedeli? Najprej mogoče nekaj, poleg uvoda, se pravi nekaj osnovnih pojmov, torej o game-based learning, gamifikaciji, serious gamingu. Potem sledi predstavitev Gamelearn platforme in pa demo predstavitev igre Pacific. Se pravi, v ta svet vas bo popeljala Milica in ta del bo izveden v angleščini. Manpower, mi smo del globalne družbe Manpower Group, Manpower Slovenija torej, in zagotavljamo kadrovske storitve podjetjem. Kakšno leto in pol nazaj smo ponujali te klasične storitve, torej iskanje in selekcija kadra, najem in pa delovna dovoljenja. Potem pa smo se povezali z podjetjem Assert in smo v sklopu tega partnerstva v bistvu naš nabor storitev tudi razširili. To so torej ti trije stebri naših storitev za izboljšanje kadrovskih strategij. Torej, kot rečeno, psihometrično testiranje. Tukaj ponujamo celostno psihometrično testiranje po Harrison metodi in pa tudi možnost testiranja na platformi Insight. Raziskave izvajamo tudi za podjetja, torej analize plačnih sistemov, zadovoljstvo zaposlenih, študije, potem torej merjenje organizacijske klime in pa pri razvoju kadrov, torej kot rečeno, razvoj mehkih veščin preko platforme Gamelearn, kar je pa tudi današnja tematika. Na področju torej razvoja kadrov je pa tudi naš partner Gamelearn. Zdaj, kaj sploh gamifikacija je? Konkretno je uporaba elementov igre, ampak v neigralnem okolju. Se pravi, v recimo določenih situacijah, tudi v čisto klasičnih vsebinah, poučevanjih, uporabljamo recimo sisteme točkovanj, nagrajevanj, nagrad, tekmovanj tudi, odkritje nekih novih levelov, se pravi to, kar se v igrah počne, statusov, badgeov, karkoli od tega uporabimo, je v bistvu to nekako proces gamifikacije. Point je, da se ustvarja ena zabavna izkušnja pri učenju in da posameznika tudi s tem motiviramo. Namreč pri učenju, kot vemo, sploh pri mehkih veščinah je zelo pomembno, da se neka zadeva ponavlja in gamifikacija nas za to motivira. Se pravi, da zadeva, ki je mogoče dolgočasna, po klasični metodi zdaj več ni. Game-based učenje je bilo v preteklosti, bom rekla, rezervirano za torej učenje strokovnih veščin. Recimo vojska je uporabljala to metodo, tudi aeronautika. Zdaj pa je postalo to v bistvu popularno tudi na področju razvoja mehkih veščin in je najboljša metoda za učenje. Torej, zakaj? Ker je relativno poceni, hitro se ga da zorganizirati in pa, kar je najpomembnejše, je bistveno in veliko zabavneje kot klasično učenje. Torej, kaj se sploh zgodi pri game-based učenju? Torej, to je zelo na kratko, ko igra nas uči, se pravi, igra uči učenca preko kreiranja nekih realnih situacij. Zdaj, takšno igro imenujemo potem serious game, torej kot neka resna igra, zdaj ne vem, če to je ustrezni izraz v slovenščini. Torej, je igra, katere prvi namen je učiti, ne pa zabavati, čeprav je tudi element zabave absolutno prisoten in tudi mora biti. Drugače nismo nič naredili skoraj. Tako da to so igre, v bistvu, ki nas učijo. Kaj je sploh prednost v bistvu tega game-based učenja? Zakaj je to toliko boljše kot klasično učenje ali pa klasično, torej e-učenje? Kot prvo je višja stopnja razumevanja vsebine pri tem. kar 90% večja verjetnost je, da se bodo nove veščine osvojile in pa tudi obdržale, se pravi, da jih ne bomo čez 5 minut pozabili. Zavzetost za učenje je bistveno večja, torej kar 94% je ta verjetnost, da bodo sploh to izobraževanje zaključili. Več povratnih informacij dobimo, uporaba znanj v realnih situacijah, kar je tudi zelo pomembno. Igre so tematske, namenjene so razvoju določene veščine in pa ne potrebujemo, spravi, kar je najboljše, ne potrebujemo predznanja igričarskega, torej ne rabite biti gamerji, ne vem kaki prej, da to obvladate, se pravi, ni nobenega predsodka, da kdo, ki je starejši, tega ne bi mogel obvladati ali pa se na ta način učiti. In igre so primerne tudi za vse pozicije, torej to ni samo za menedžerski krog in pa tudi za vse branže. Tako da to je bil zdaj moj hiter pregled, zdaj pa predajam besedo Milici in pa platformi Gamelearn. So Milica, over to you.
Thank you, Miriam. Hello from my side, hello everybody. I hope this switch in languages doesn't mind you a lot. I have to say, I kind of understood what Miriam was talking because I know about the subject, but I hope that from now on we will have the same understanding and the possibility to present Gamelearn in the best possible way. As the proud ambassador for Gamelearn for this region, for our region, Balkan region, ex-Yugoslavia region, I'm proud to present the most award-winning game-based learning platform in the whole world. So Gamelearn is actually the most award-winning platform, and this is just some of the awards that they have won over the 13-14 years since they've been living and creating this great games. So what actually separates Gamelearn? What are the perks of Gamelearn platform and why is it so special? Well, first of all, we have the Gamelearn formula that's incorporated in every game that they create. That's top content and applicable content for your working environment, then real life simulations and personalized feedback to practice and refine the skills we learn through that applicable content, and of course to make it all fun and engaging as the games should be. Those are the elements of gamification and storytelling. What are some more perks of Gamelearn? Why is the platform so good and so user-friendly? First of all, it gives you 24/7 availability of your games on any device. The only thing you have to do is to have an internet access, and everything else can be done on any device, even on your phone. Also, the platform is saving progress as you go. You can stop your learning process whenever you need. Maybe you have some meeting you need or some call you need to attend. You can stop playing and feel safe that the game will continue from the place that you stopped. Also, you have different ranking options if you want to have more or less privacy among your employees while competing for points won in the games. Also, we can make playing restrictions, so you can restrict time when they play or don't play the game. The platform itself sends reminders to players. So if the people are not as active as they should be, they will be reminded. This means that you as HR can sit back, relax, and watch the learning happen. Also, as we said, the games have top quality applicable content presented as lessons. Those lessons are downloadable within the platform, so people can remind themselves of the content long after they finished playing. They can also download fun certificates of completion, and also you can integrate this platform easily with any existing LMS you might have. And here we have the last perk of Gamelearn, that's availability in different languages. And here we have an asterisk, a little bit of a note here. All the games are available in the four main world languages. So English, French, Spanish, and German. Currently, we only have one game available in Slovenian, but this will change in the near future. We will listen to your needs and requests and translate the games as we go. So from now on, you can expect more and more games to be available in your local language. And of course, it's not all about the games. It's much more than the games. So from us, from Manpower Slovenia, supported by Assert International, you will have full consultancy support from start to finish of your project. That means that we will assist you in identifying your needs, and we will recommend game or games in a learning pathway you need to satisfy those needs. We will give you full administration support to the platform. As I said, just sit back and relax. We do the technical support. We also do pre and post testing to assess the effects of learning. So we test the skills of your participants before playing the game, before the program, and then after the program. And we do the analysis and deliver the analysis to you. We also give kickoff meetings to present the platform, to get participants familiar with the game they're going to play, and to set the learning objectives, because as you know, when we have our objectives set before the learning process, the learning itself is more effective because we know where we are going. Also, after playing the game, 1 month after playing the game, we do the follow-up meeting. Why? Because we want to track the implementation of the newly learned skills. We want to see what's happening, and we want to further support the implementation of new skills, maybe with some new techniques, some new advices, but the goal is to support your implementation of the skills learned and practiced through the safe environment of the game. Last but not least, you receive weekly reports while people are playing the game, and also the final report with learning effects analysis. And that's not all. We also create blended solutions. So we use Gamelearn games to support our live trainings, to give all the participants of our live trainings the opportunity to practice and solidify the knowledge that they learned through a live training in a safe and standardized environment of the game. So we do the full circle of development. And let me just show you a little bit the plethora of games that we have available. This catalog just keeps on growing. So you have games for leadership, time management, sales or closing a deal, coaching, effective feedback, delegation, assertiveness. And let me just make a mark here. Assertiveness is the game available in Slovenia. Also customer support, influence and persuasion, and many, many more. As you can see, there are nearly 30 games currently available, and more are soon to come. Also, we have 2 games that are customizable for your internal processes. They are usually used for onboarding process or some knowledge sharing or information sharing process. So we can turn any content that you might have into a fun and engaging game. And let me just say that that's not all. So with the editor, the author tool available from Gamelearn, we can make tailor-made games for your specific needs. So whether you have a training content that you're already using and you may want to make it more fun, more engaging, we can turn it into a game. Or maybe you just have a training need and you want that training need to be satisfied with a game that's tailored to your specific need, that simulates specific situations that you want your employees to experience in order to develop the skill you want and need them to develop. This means that you will be participating in a game creation process as a subject matter expert, as the best expert on your employees, filling us in with the information so we can create the best possible game to develop the specific skills that you need your employees to have. This also means that we can create games in any language that you need. Depending on the language that you need, our cooperation in translating the game will be bigger or smaller, depending on the language our consultants speak, but anything can be done with the editor. So less words, more games. The point of this meeting or of this webinar is to present also the games themselves or to be correct, one of them. So we will now see the demo of Pacific, one of our most famous games, the one that develops the leadership skills, so leadership and team management skills. And now we will see how it looks. I hope you can all see this. So this is actually the first thing we see when we open Pacific game. It's the instruction that we can play it full screen, but since it's easier to navigate everything like this, we will not use that. Now we have to choose our character. So we will choose the female character, but there is an option of choosing the male character. And let me just stress, Pacific is the only Gamelearn game that gives you this option of choosing a character. Every other game has a specifically set storyline where the characters are already set. So the choice of the character is not an option in the other games. But here we can choose the one that we like. The game starts with the introduction of the storyline, with setting the stage for what needs to be done in the game. So this is an email our player is receiving from an organization called Hospitals for All. So it's a non-government organization. And it's asking for volunteers to help. There's been a horrific tidal wave that hit a coast of Indonesia, and the organization is collecting resources needed to build a hospital in the area. The materials and the planes are ready, and they need one more person to complete the five-person team that will travel to Indonesia and carry out the project. So will you be able to help them? Can the organization count on you as the player? When we do that, we actually see the introduction video. This video actually has the sound, but I've turned off the sound because it would be hard to share the sound as well and to also understand me while speaking. But here we have a nice soothing music in the background, and we see our characters loading the plane and preparing to go on this mission of building a hospital in Indonesia. So you can see all the members of the team, you can see the one that you chose, and they are preparing for the flight. So this is just the storyline introduction. You can see our main character. You can also see the male character available for choosing. And we see them going off into the adventure. Unfortunately, at one point, they run into a storm. Dark clouds are coming in, and they see lightning and thunderstorm is approaching. Unfortunately, this thunderstorm, as you're going to see, will destroy their engines and send them nose down, diving into the abyss. Luckily, they will see a land, so they won't fall into the ocean. There is a possibility of survival after this crash. And of course, that's the next thing that we will see. We're alive. First of all of us are alive. Even though the plane is crashed, we can see that we're on an island. We have drinking water. There's a waterfall, and something out of the plane survived. So we're stranded on a desert island in the middle of Pacific. And our goal here is to survive. Okay, so when the video is done, we have a bit more about storyline information. So we have the information about the island, that we've been stranded here, that we don't have cell phone coverage or any equipment to communicate. There is vegetation, game, fish, and fresh water on the island to keep you alive for a while. but you need to find some kind of transportation to survive and stay alive. Here, players have a bit of information about the course itself, about the learning objectives. So what will they learn in this course? They will learn how to turn a group of individuals into a high-performance team. They will learn the skills of becoming a better leader, and they will get a step-by-step manual on how to lead their teams to success. They will do so by playing this game. Here we have more information. So it's 2 weeks after we've been on the island. Team spirits are being low because we already tried to escape the island with a raft. So we built 2 rafts and both ended up destroyed on the rocks. The currents and waves are making its escape by sea impossible. The group is devastated and the morale is at the rock bottom. Suddenly, Malcolm, so one of the team members, stands up and addresses the group. I've been flying hot air balloons for a long time. We have materials in the plane hold, generators, fans, pipes, etc. For the balloon itself, we can use fabric from the parachutes. And for fuel, we have tanks of gas. We can build the balloon to get us out of here. What do you say? And this idea totally cracks people's moods. All eyes move on Malcolm. I've made a diagram of the process of building it. We just need a leader. Raise your hand if you agree that it should be May. And remember, May is the character that we chose in the beginning. Everybody approves, and this actually gets us into our project, getting people off the island. So this speech raised spirits within the group. Now you have a clear plan of action. Build a balloon to escape from the island. The team has chosen you to be its leader. Your colleagues expect you to guide them on the road of survival. Your goal? To get off the island with the greatest number of leadership points possible. So here we see our goal and we are starting our game. First, we start with the tutorial. So players are introduced to the game with the tutorial. We learn how to move around the island by using a map. So here we see all the people, all the team members, and we can move to encounter each of them. Also, by clicking on our team characters, we can interact with them. We can earn leadership points by managing the team. And depending on how fast we will finish building the balloon, that many leadership points we will get. Also, all the actions, as you will now see, are locked because we first need to develop our skills in order to implement some action. How are we developing skills? By reading lessons in the mind button. So here are all the lessons that we have in the game. So developing delegation, feedback, managing conflict, giving meaning, so setting objectives, setting team rules, communicating with the team, developing people, developing processes and tools, team building, motivation, coaching, and also leading oneself. So these are the lessons presented in the course. And as you can see, each lesson unlocks some of the actions. Also, as you can see, reading the lesson takes up some of our energy that we have. So we will now see the lesson. As you will now see, we have a certain amount of time that we need to spend reading the lessons before it is presumed that you read everything. So the game limits you because you need to spend at least 3 minutes on the lesson. That's the estimated amount of time that you need to have in order to read this lesson. As you can see, in the beginning, we have a couple of informations about the course itself, how it's been made, what informations have been used, that it's actually created based on a 10-year-old research on the experiences and actions of great managers and leaders. And then the course goes on with explaining about delegation. You can see that the educational material is pretty behaviorally oriented. So it's actually advices, step-by-step tools on how to, in this manner, make your delegation more effective. So first of all, we go to learn about the benefits of delegation, and then about the tips for effective delegation. And as you can see, these tips are very, very behaviorally oriented. So delegate more. Don't expect your team members to do the things as you would. What interests you is the result, not how it is achieved. The next one is specify exactly the results you expect. Also, the next one, each task must have one responsible party. So this is actually a step-by-step guide on how to delegate effectively, how to make your delegation process more successful, more productive. Also, you need to set a deadline. You need to provide resources. You need to give the person freedom to decide how to act, the autonomy to do the task. Also, trust the person to be able to do it, show that trust, but also be available for help. Define a tracking plan. So how you will going to assess the path on achieving the goal or finishing the task that has been delegated. There's also a tip to don't solve the person's problems. Offer her help in finding the solution, but don't give her the solution, because that way the person will always need you to solve the problems. You also need to give feedback in order for your delegation to be effective. So you can see how specific the lessons are. And now when we read the lesson, we can go on to the test. After each lesson, we have a test that with which we need to show that we understood the lesson. And here in the first one, we have some help from our tutorial, but later on we won't have that help. So throughout the game, people need to answer the test in order to continue. And if you don't answer correctly, you need to re-answer the questions in order to continue. So now we have the option of delegating tasks. And here we have the information, why is it important to delegate them. So we need to delegate tasks in order to construct the balloon. We need to complete all the tasks, both corresponding the ones to survival and the ones to finishing the balloon in order to get off the island. So we need to eat as much as we need to build the balloon. When delegating, we need to take into account the characteristics of the person and of the task being delegated. And this task character compatibility, the person's level of motivation and development or teams or skills, as well as team synergy will actually influence the execution speed. So you will see when we delegate our first tasks, which we will do right now. So we will click on the character, click on delegate, and here we will see all the tasks needed to be done in this game. Here in the first row, these are the tasks related to survival. So make spreads for hunting, hunt, clean game, make fishing rods, collect fruit, collect water. These are the survival tasks. And the rest of these are the tasks needed to be done to complete the balloon and get off the island. So now the tutorial is leading us to delegate this first task. When we click on the task, we see more information about the task, the difficulty of the task, or the skills needed to finish the task. And we can also see Malcolm's information here. As you can see, delegation costs you 10 energy points. And we've selected a task that is compatible with the character, this will going to give us 5 points. And we here also have the information that each action consumes energy. We start the day with 100% energy, 100% points. And when we consume all the energy, we need to click the next day button in order to rest, renew our energy, and continue playing. Now we will test the next day button. When we go to the next day, we receive the feedback on the previous day. So we have no areas for improvement right now. Everything was okay the first day. We had the help of the tutorial. And we also have the dashboard, so of all information within the game. So which day it is, how much of the balloon we've built, how many points do we have some penalty points, what's the team synergy, and what's the ranking among other players in the game. We also see our leadership points, our team synergy as a graphic representation, and we can also see motivation level and development level for each character in the game. As you can see, everybody has 0 on their motivation and development except Malcolm, who has 5 on his motivation level because he feels useful, because he has been delegated a task. Now we will go on to the next day and delegate more tasks to other team members. Before that, the game is showing us that we can use help button in order to find tips on how to play the game, on how to lead your team more effectively, and that way win bigger amount of points within the game. And this leads us to the end of the tutorial. From now on, we will be able to play freely. So here are the final advices on how to play the game. To delegate all tasks you can in a day. To boost team's performance by increasing synergy, motivation, and development. And we can do that by providing actions and team actions and individual actions. We need to unlock actions by reading, and each action consumes energy. When we exhaust it, we need to recharge the day. So we need to consume maximum of our energy in order to build the balloon the fastest possible. And if players in the game have the same amount of points, the winner will be the one who built the balloon in shorter amount of time. So now that we are done with the tutorial, we can go on with the game in more detail. So here in this button, we have the team interface. Here we can see information about all of our team members. And this is something I wanted to show you. So we see that Malcolm is finishing up his task. This task requires minimum 1 day to be finished, but since our team synergy is low, we're at the beginning of the game, motivation levels are low, development levels are low, the real days needed to perform this action is actually 3. So we won't have Malcolm available for the next 2 days before he finishes this task. Here we can see that Malcolm has increase in his motivation. And also if we click on Malcolm or any other player for that matter, we can see detailed information about them. So who they are, what do they like, what's their profile. And also after we ask them questions, so after we talk to them within the game, we fill out this part, motivational factors, that actually helps us to lead and motivate our teams even better throughout the game. So here we can see all of our players. We can meet them, and we can also delegate tasks to them. So let's go and delegate some more tasks so they can work until we do something else, like learning something else. Okay, so this is Omar. So he's another male character and he is mechanical engineer, so we can give him a task of fixing plane propellers. Let me just mention that you can see the lighter color are the tasks that are available to us. These other tasks are connected to the previous ones. So you first need to design the base before you can look for some logistics parts to finish that base. So we will delegate a task to Malcolm. We will look at the task requirements and his skills. And let me just mention, you will never find a correct match, but you need to look through those skills and also other characteristics of both the player and the task in order to make a good match. And here we found a task that is compatible to our player. And if I'm not correct, I will now try to show you how it looks like when the task is not, oh, I made a mistake. I'm not sure. There are some players incompatible with some tasks, but I'm not completely sure about it. So let's move on with delegating. We have one more player that we need, team member that we need to delegate. So let's delegate some task regarding the survival, because we need to, let's say, drink water in order to live. So we will collect water. Okay, so I found it. This is the character and the task where we have the task not being so compatible to the character. So we have a person that is detail oriented, that likes to do that as a neurosurgeon, likes to deal with detailed stuff. And we've sent her to just collect water. So we haven't used her potential, and that's why we don't have compatibility in this task. So we will have a deduction of points. But the fact that we actually sent someone to collect water triggered a new event within the game. And these specific events happen throughout the game and require our attention. Just like in real life, you have some crisis situations and some events that require leaders' attention. This is how in the game we have this presented. So what's the event? Malcolm has proposed constructing a pipeline of stilts to carry the water directly from the waterfall to the camp to avoid having to collect it in buckets. So Malcolm gave you the idea on how to optimize the process to save energy. And this event is pending feedback or reward in order to be an effective leader and win as much points as possible. So we need to provide feedback to Malcolm to give him positive feedback in order to win points or to be effective leader. So we will go again into our Mine button and open our feedback lesson so we can activate the feedback action. So here again, you can see that the lesson is timed. So here we have 4 minutes because it's a longer lesson. And at the beginning, we also see we are presented with the benefits of using feedback. Why do we use feedback and why is it important to present feedback as a useful development tool to your team? The lesson then continues with giving information about positive feedback. First, why is it important? What's the benefit of using positive feedback? And then we have a step-by-step manual on how to give positive feedback. So give praise immediately. If you let the time go by, the recognition will have less impact. Also, be sincere, never pretend. Describe exactly what the person did well. Never invalidate the praise. So avoid expressions like better late than never, but although, for the first time, or it was about time. Also, describe the positive impact it has on the team, on the company, on the customers. Express your satisfaction. Thank the person for their efforts. Encourage them to keep up the good work and consider doing it publicly. And the players also have the possibility of downloading the checklist for positive feedback, together with all the lessons they can download from the platform or hear from the game itself. The lesson then continues with the negative feedback, with the information about the negative feedback. So first, what are the benefits? How we can make it more effective? What are the prerequisites of effective feedback? And then what are the steps in giving negative or constructive feedback? So we need first to explain that the feedback will be given and what's the purpose of them. We need to teach our people to receive feedback, and that's also something that will be presented in this lesson. We need to make them see feedback as something useful. We need to give it immediately. And we need to have feedback message for each event that happens. So don't mix and match different feedback messages. Also, we need to prepare it carefully. We need to plan what we want to say, because wording can make or break effective negative feedback. We need to give it in private. We need to be clear and direct. Don't be condescending. Make it constructive, avoid distraction. These are all specific, behaviorally oriented advices on how to give effective negative feedback. And also, you can download the checklist to have as a reminder on this lesson. And the lesson ends up with giving advice on how to receive feedback. So what is the checklist for receiving feedback? And here also in the additional material, you as leaders will get interview questions on how you can ask for feedback from your employees. So everything that is provided as an educational material within the course is behaviorally oriented, specific, and it's a step-by-step guide for specific actions. And this brings us to the end of time, so we can continue on to the test. And now that we don't have the help of the tutorial, we need to answer ourselves. Let me show you what happens if we get something wrong. So we are notified that we got one question wrong. We need to re-answer it in order to continue, and we get a deduction of points for that wrong answer. So now we can go and give Malcolm feedback. So we also need to reward him because he had a great idea that helped our work, but unfortunately in this demo we won't be able to read another lesson to unlock this action. So the last thing we can see now and test is giving feedback button. So how does that look like? So here we have the event. Malcolm has proposed construction of the pipeline on stilts to carry the water directly from the waterfall to the camp to avoid having to collect it in buckets. And we have to choose what kind of a feedback message we will send to Malcolm. Would we give him a feedback in private and tell him, although it's a good idea, we can't implement it because we have other priorities? Or maybe you will tell to him in public that I appreciate your good idea, I appreciate any good ideas you can contribute. Or will you say in public, Malcolm had a great idea to build a pipeline for the water that could save us a lot of time and effort. We should decide what priority to give to this task in light of the other things we have to do. So here we can choose based on our knowledge And here, of course, this one is correct. You can see that feedback to 15 points. And you also get feedback on your feedback. The last thing I want to show you is the group menu. So here you can define objectives, define rules, team building, resolve conflict, or develop processes. And last but not least, here is the ranking. So for now, we're at the 9th place, but these are make-believe characters. This means your players from your company will be able to compete amongst each other, and this is additional motivation. So unfortunately, we can't go further with the game because we don't have any more readings.
Za kakršnakoli dodatna vprašanja, informacije glede lahko posredujete mail, torej ali na miriam.kmetica@manpower.si, torej tudi za kakšen razširjen katalog, karkoli. Če bi pa želeli kar neko konkretno ponudbo za vaše podjetje, pa se lahko tudi obrnete na naš mail prodaje, torej prodaja@manpower.si in pa seveda tudi preko naše spletne strani, čeprav na spletni strani si lahko pogledate tudi naše ostale storitve, se pravi, seveda nas lahko kontaktirate za karkoli drugega tudi. Jaz upam, da vam je bilo všeč, da ste izvedeli kaj novega. Tako da hvala za udeležbo, hvala, thank you Milica for your cooperation.
Thank you, and I think I regained my voice, so if anybody has some last question, I can answer it right now. But it was a pleasure talking in this webinar, even though I lost a bit of my voice at the end. Thank you very much for listening to us, and I hope you will get back to Miriam for more information.
Jaz bi mogoče imela eno vprašanje. I have a question.
Okay.
What would be like the approximate, let's say, time, considering that, for example, manager will play like consistently the game and so on, like in how much time would he or she need to complete the game?
Depending on the game. This one that we just saw, Pacific, it's around 8 hours of play. But as we said, they have a maximum of 8 weeks to finish this 8-hour course. We can play with the maximum time for playing. So we can make it 1 month or 8 weeks or any amount of time that you want to restrict your players. But the active playing time for Pacific is around 8 hours. Different games require different playing times. So depending on the game, you will have different time to complete it.
Thank you.
Welcome. The time that we advise is 1 month, because then you have a compacted learning for these long games. If the game is shorter, we then advise even a shorter period of time, so you don't dilute the learning. But we can do whatever you need. The platform gives us actually a lot of options of restricting the playing time. And just one specific detail about the demos. So these long games, demos are actually short. So you pass a couple of actions in the game just to test it. You don't see the entire game. For the shorter games, you can actually test within the demo version the entire game. So we have those differences as well, because the duration of the game is shorter or longer. But I think my colleagues will deliver our catalog to all the participants. In that catalog, you will see also the information about the duration of the active playing time. And then you can also request the specific demo for the specific game you actually want to see. So Pacific is just the first one that we showed. I hope you will see a lot more of them. Thank you everybody. It's been a pleasure. I hope to see you again. Bye.
Good done. Adieu.